In this section, we are going to implement hybrid flow of OECD authentication flows when we want to get tokens over the front and back channels. When we get a token via authorization endpoint over the URI, that means it's a front channel. When we get a token via token endpoint, that means it's a back channel. The hybrid flow uses both channels in the process. Let's check out our big picture of the architecture of what we are going to build one by one. As you can see that we have developed Movies Client MVC project for the interactive client with OpenID Connect. And also we have developed Movies API project for protected resources with OAuth 2. So now we are going to combine these two operations and provide the security in one hybrid flow. There are three authentication flows. These flows differ according to parameters passed to the OpenID provider with the content of the responses and how they are processed. The difference between the requests made to authorization endpoint is determined by the response type parameter. Flows and parameter values could be the authorization code flow. The value will be the code for the response type. And the second is the implicit flow. The value of the response type is ID token or ID token token. And the last one is the hybrid flow. The response type value will be the code ID token or code token or code ID token token. So this flow and the response type values are, for example, when we see the code value in the response type parameter, the authorization endpoint always returns the authorization code. If an ID token is included as a response type, the ID token is included in the response, or an access token will be included the response of from authorization endpoint. In short, this parameter determines the response structure and which operation the steps the client application will be used. For these three flows, the authorization code flow is an extension of the OAuth 2 authorization code grant. OECD implicit flow and hybrid flow are the extension of the authorization code flow. So let's check the authorization code flow now. With the authentication request, the client application redirects the user agent to the OpenID provider. In other words, the end user is directed to the page on the OpenID provider site where he can log in. Thus, the client application does not see the user authentication information. Even if the OpenID Connect is named as an authentication protocol, it doesn't care about the details how to authenticate the user. This is defined within the OpenID provider depending on the application. It may even contain a consent mechanism for this client application. If the user authentication login is successful, the OpenID provider directs the user to the authorization endpoint. The authorization endpoint redirects to the client application with an HTTP redirect containing the authorization code. If the authentication is incorrect, the authorization makes a redirect containing the endpoint with the error page information. For that reason, the client application obtains the authorization code information without seeing the user password. In the authorization code flow, the basic flow, the client verification is made from the front channel by requiring the client ID and client secret information. Then the access token is obtained from the token endpoint and delivered to the client application using the back channel. In the implicit flow, the required tokens are generated in the authorization endpoint and the client secret information is not required for the client verification. These operations are carried out on the front channels. The hybrid flow performs the operation using two channels. In this flow, we can use three combinations of the code, ID token and the token response type values defined for this flow. After we have learned the basics, we can start with the coding part.